BXB. It's in the game!
Hey guys, it's me Ben, back with another one of my quick video reviews for BXB games, and this time I'm looking at Red Faction Guerrilla ReMARStered on the Xbox One. Very clever play on words there, because Red Faction is set on Mars, so let's draw attention to that part of ReMARStered. It's probably the most creative thing about this remaster, and I'm not trying to be horrible. This is actually a pretty decent package. Now, Red Faction Guerrilla originally came out in 2009 on the 360, the PS3, and probably the PC back then as well, though I can't remember. I just remember it as a console game. I remember it as this game that brought back brought a sequel to a franchise I long thought dead. Now, Red Faction, originally there was a 1 and a 2, was a first-person shooter, a PC game that was all about something called geomod technology, which was the ability to use explosives to alter terrain, specifically terrain and not buildings. But the flip of that, the inverse of that, has happened here in Guerrilla, and the sort of most impressive thing about this game, and what made it stand out in 2009, was how all the buildings and all the structures were fully destructible and destroyable with your axe and explosives and guns and vehicles, and that's exactly what we still have in this game. Now, things on Mars have gone a bit awry. They're not great. Things aren't super happy. The horrible oppressive regime has taken over, blah-de-blah. You play Alec Mason, blah-de-blah. You know, white, short-haired protagonist guy with a gruff voice, as was the norm in 2009, and none of that story or setting is particularly exciting. What you'll see, hopefully, from this 720p video is that the visuals have had some work done on them. They do look better. They might be running at a 4K resolution or thereabouts on the Xbox One, which was the console I reviewed this on. However, that doesn't mean the graphics suddenly look amazing. This is, after all, a game that's nearly 10 years old. I believe load times are quicker, but you're going to notice a few things about how this game controls that do feel a little bit dated. For example, left trigger doesn't aim down the sights, that's on the right stick. Left trigger is melee. Now, I'm sure there are some control customizations you can do in this game, but it is a bit weird. Talking about the package, all the DLC that was available for the original game is of course included in the remastered version here, and that means all the multiplayer maps are in there. Yes, this game had multiplayer, which I kind of didn't remember at all from playing this back in the day. I remembered bumming around the open world and destroying things. I didn't remember playing multiplayer because I probably didn't. And considering I'm playing this game pre-release, and when I looked at the leaderboards there were about 3 other names on it, I haven't played multiplayer now. I'm sure it's fine. However, it's probably not why you're going to be picking this up. It sounds quite creative, it sounds quite fun. There's even a couch sort of based multiplayer called Wreckfest, where you can set yourself points, targets and all kinds of things based around usually destruction. But to be honest, there's loads of modes to dig through here, and there's a whole bunch of things that I never even remembered were in this game, so that might be worth checking out if you're looking for more than just the campaign. The campaign itself, the open world of Mars, is as you remember it, and probably more brown and grey than you actually do remember it being. The rose-tinted glasses of looking back 10 years ago means you remember those amazing explosions and how all the buildings collapsed. It doesn't mean you remember the desert upon desert upon desert, the brown upon brown, the grey mixed with brown. It makes sometimes picking out objectives and where you need to go and what you need to do kind of difficult, and to be honest, the whole thing lacks a visual flair. But it is just a recreation of what came 10 years ago, so you can't be too hard on it for that. Other things that make it feel dated is the open world style of locked off areas. You remember in like old GTA games, unless you got to a certain story point you couldn't go to the area on the map? That's what we have here in Red Faction as well, and it just means everything feels a bit older than maybe you're used to. It's a big open world, which you have to get around by doing a lot of really boring driving and traversal. Well, it's boring and stuff when you're not in the cool mechs, but of course they come on later in the game. But when you're driving around in the trucks and the buggies and stuff, it's dull to get around. It takes a long time to get places. The driving feels floaty and horribly inaccurate at times. All the physics feel a bit strange, especially when you're on foot or in the cars. But I'm guessing that's to sort of enable the hugely destructible environment, and that's what this game is all about. You're either going to enjoy the concept of blowing everything up. If you didn't do it the last time, 10 years ago, it's certainly a fun thing to do now. And THQ have been smart in releasing this at a budget price point. It's not going to break the bank. It's reasonable. I couldn't tell you exactly how much it is because it isn't actually out yet. But I think it's going to be, looking at prices on Amazon stuff, in the £25 to £35 range, which I think is fair for this game. Like I said, it includes all the DLC. There's a whole multiplayer suite to dig into that I never did the first time around, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it once the game goes live properly, the day or so after this review goes up. I think it looks a bit dull. It feels a bit dated. The story is definitely rote and uneventful and dull. However, that moment-to-moment gameplay of going around, putting charges on everything, blowing it all up and watching it fall down in semi-realistic and always spectacular ways is still engaging and enjoyable. And when you get those mechs later on, when you tread around in the giant construction mechs and smash through the buildings, and then the military mechs and unload their autocannons everywhere, well, lots of fun to be had with that. So I'm going to give Red Faction Guerrilla ReMARStered Edition a very fair, not exactly exciting, 3 out of 5 stars.
BXB. It's in the game.